What's up, Exiles? It's Hedgie, and the Path of Exile Awakening Beta Balance Notes has been released on Reddit. It's kind of a leak, but there's no NDA, so no harm done. We're going to go ahead and read this and discuss maybe the possible significance or the changes. As well as new content, this beta contains a number of changes to the core game and balance of Path of Exile. These are not patch notes, but are just an overview of some of the most important balance changes so far. Actual patch notes will be released when closed beta ends and 2.0 is deployed to the live realm. Please test these changes under the closed beta realm before providing feedback. It's important to play the game with all the new changes rather than speculate on an impact of a single change without having played under the new rules. Areas and quests in Acts 1 through 3 have been changed extensively. The sizes and areas will continue to change based on the data and feedback throughout the beta. There has been a general rebalance on monster life and damage. Monsters should be a fair bit scarier now. We saw this as an important return to earlier difficulty of Path of Exile. The rebalance has been focused on normal difficulty. Much of the monster rebalance is currently wrong and cruel and merciless. It takes a lot of balls to admit that, the game has been out this long and the current balance has been wrong in two difficulties. Especially in the case of major bosses. The armor calculation has been adjusted to make it more effective in response to the damage changes. All projectiles now behave like arrows. This is insane. This is like saying all spell projectiles are now like arrows. Multiple projectiles emitted at exactly the same time can no longer hit the same target. Their area of effect can still overlap. So we're talking about like fireball splash, dealing damage to the same target multiple times. Many skills have received balance changes as a result. So this is going to, like, just off the top of my head, Ice Spear. Ice Spear COC, so strong. This is gonna nerf that big time. We now have a far better ability to balance projectile skills because multiple projectile support gems aren't absolutely mandatory anymore. Many skills that we've previously been unable to create due to the presence of projectile shotgunning are now possible. In addition, melee characters aren't at as much risk from monsters with multiple projectiles. So, range lose, melee win. Alright. The level and experience progression on all gems have been reworked. Many gems have had their start level changed as well. This will be very interesting, especially for races and LLD. Very, very significant. Man, I'm so excited to see like what this is all about. Quest rewards have been redone from scratch. This is something that they need to be really careful with on when they're talking about the vanilla part and it dealing with racing. This could drastically change, the rate at which every class is able to compete in a race. Note that the new progression assumes the presence of a few skills that aren't complete yet. There will be a secondary system for getting alternate gems from vendors as well. Wow, but it's not implemented yet in the beta. We want to see how the initial quest rewards work prior to introducing the new system, which is partly to assist racers and variant characters. Here are some specific areas that have been reworked. Burn and proliferation. I'm not so sure that I agree with the proliferation, but the burn, definitely. I hope shock and chill prolif is still strong. Master crafting price and values. So this is going to make accessibility to making LLD gear even easier. I'm glad I didn't go ham. I'm assuming that it means cheaper and not more expensive. Critical strike chance and attack speed on weapons. Now, this is something that we saw through a sneak peek with looking at the uniques that they posted. However, those Maraketh weapons are OP. Like, I hope they really don't nerf a lot of the weapons, because a lot of the mirror-worthy stuff is just going to get obliterated by the Maraketh weapons. Attack skills. They now have a multiplicative damage bonus rather than increased physical damage as they level up. Now this is important. This is a huge buff to melee because, well, assuming that it's, you know, a net gain, it's going to feel like every level you're getting substantially more. You know how the spell, we were always saying, oh, this level of the spell gem matters so much. Now we're bringing in stronger support gems for melee, so when you level them up, it actually feels like it's doing an extremely significant amount. When we're leveling spells, we can see like 15 to 10% increases in our damage, whereas a melee skill is just like a flat increase, and this is definitely a step in the right direction. I like it. It's going to increase the value of 2120 melee gems. They weren't that important before, but now they're going to be really, 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 really good because it's more. Minions. They are now targeted by monsters less often and take less damage from many boss attacks. This is still being heavily iterated on. I mean, if it's, I'm not so sure how I feel about that. It's like, why did they even tell us? If it's being changed all the time, who knows? Life and mana flask. That's so vague, so vague. Frenzy charges. More damage per frenzy charge. Attack and cast speed bonuses have been reduced. I don't really understand this change. Frenzy is all about getting quicker and faster and kind of like a fanatical attack. The more damage, I'm not so sure. It kind of takes away the flavor. Maybe they should just add like a leech mechanic, or I don't know, increase it. I don't know how I feel about this change. I feel like power charges are the ones that give you the more, it's like crit. That whole genre of charge is increasing your damage multiplicatively. Yeah, so we'll see. Eldritch Battery, it now moves Energy Shield to cover mana rather than turning Energy Shield into mana. Now this is probably going to come with other things to help it and aid it. We don't know that yet. Rory has been in deep discussion with the community about giving them extra tools so that your Energy Shield cooldown recovery isn't 6 seconds when you pick up this stone. Whether they give you passive regen or a quicker recovery, who knows? It's too early to call. This is the attempt to nerf, having mind over matter and max Arctic armor and having insane amounts of regen. The devs felt like that's way too powerful for how cheap it is and how easy it is. And I agree. This is why it's such a popular build on current hardcore leagues. Ondar's Guile. It provides 40% more chance to evade projectiles and 20% less versus melee. Now they're making it they're giving it a drawback. This is the first time that that's happened. So right now we get double the chance to evade projectiles. So this is a nerf big time to Ondar's. You're now going to have 20% chance less to evade melee. So it's a real big commitment. Man, that's going to make a big difference in PvP too. That's a huge drawback. Buff effect bonuses have been removed from the passive tree. So this means Devotion and Inner Force, that entire 26% on the tree have been removed. I don't know how I feel about this. They better give us some goodies to make up for that. I mean, I think those are such unique mechanics. It allows you to make Arctic armor strong or stronger, and make your herald stronger and give you more max res, which I think was very, very good. And it took a while to get there, to get to like a level 20 purity. Leech on weapons have been made local. Note that the other changes to Leech are coming. The placement of totems is no longer considered to be casting, so it's not modified by cast speed modifiers. We'll be adding more bonuses to totem placement speed. So if you use faster casting right now, it actually finishes the animation quicker. So they're taking that away. No longer will faster casting affect the rate at which you spawn a totem. It's gonna now be modified by, I guess, tree nodes or something. Maybe they'll add them in addition or something. I guess they're not happy with the rate at which people are spawning like a decoy totem. You know, it's too fast for too good. There are several things that are planned but not yet done, such as players' auras no longer being restricted by line of sight. Yeah, that's a good change. Party play, quality of life, iteration on existing item mods, in addition of some higher level mods. So I don't imagine that they're going to increase like tyrannical or what is it, incision and things like that. These are probably the ones that just like don't have a high item level, and maybe give them some more flavor. A rework of the leech mechanics, including slow down base leech, but providing much more available leech speed, especially on the south side of the tree. Leech versus major bosses will be reduced. The penalty on vol packs will likely be reduced. So right now we're at a 50% penalty, and you cannot regen. I'm assuming that the cannot regen part is going to stay, but maybe that 50% will become 20%. Messing with leech speed, stressing high leechers down below. I mean, it still makes it seem like acuities are like the golden ticket still. They're going to be worth even more, because instant leech, you know, for such huge amounts of crits and stuff. I'm not so sure how I feel about this. Leech speed being more available on the south side of this tree. I don't know. If they're efficient nodes, then I guess that's cool. It's going to be hard to combat like the insta-gives with reflection. I doubt a decent amount of leech speed is going to help against that. I don't think it's going to be the counter. It's just going to help the overall HPS, you know, rate of play versus, you know, scary rares or beyond monsters or bosses. I don't see it helping against reflection. You're either dead or you're not, almost. Okay, so here's a rebalancing of existing unique items. I hope that doesn't mean a nerf on my staff. I'm already anticipating a slight critical chance nerf on the Hegemonary's era because of the judgment base. A rebalance of the passive tree beyond additional jewel sockets. We don't know what the original ones look like. You know, the 20 that they're going to release. So who knows? Stormclaw has received some changes which will cause it to have issues with its effects when increased in duration. And this will be fixed. I think it's hilarious that Stormcall is in here and not things like Shock Nova or Lightning Trap. Why they bothered to mention Stormcall, I have no idea. Maps based on Act 4 go to old tile sets currently. These will be updated to their correct tile sets soon. So that means that they're not ready. They're not polished or whatever. For whatever reason, they're just gonna. So when you open a, let's just say a 68, I don't know, whatever they call a new instance, it'll just open like a crit map or a, you know, 68 Springs map. There's some kind of substitute in the game right now until they're ready. That's a shame. I was kind of looking forward to fighting the new bosses and maps, but who knows? It's going to be a lot of things to test. Going forward, I am going to be streaming beta the first day. I'm going to try to stream as much as possible. I think I'm going to start out with a trapper, my Shadow Classic Trapper with Eldritch Battery. I want to try it with the new stuff, and I want to see how much the burn and prolif are affected by the changes. Obviously, the leech stuff is irrelevant. The frenzy charges irrelevant. But yeah, going further, I wonder also what that means if the frenzy charges are affected and reduced in cast speed and attack speed. Does that mean Blood Dance Boots will now net you 0% attack and cast speed? That's something to consider. But anyways, feel free to hop in and ask me questions or pick my brain. A lot of this stuff, who knows? We know that Cyclone has been rebalanced. The starting mana cost at level 1 is now 12. That's insane change. They said that they're going to modify the damage of the projectiles as they see fit. So who knows? It might feel okay. What does this mean for stuff that gives you additional projectiles? I mean, at the moment, I can only think of really a quiver and a bow, which gives you additional proj without any damage penalty. With this going forward, I would expect LMP and GMP probably to do less damage. So hopefully those modifiers get adjusted, and you know, splashing is still somewhat effective, even if we can't shotgun with the same thing. With that being said, I want to thank you guys for tuning in, and I want to thank you guys for liking, subscribing, following, and supporting the stream. Have a good one. See you guys in Act 4. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hyped. Hopefully you guys are too. Peace.